Jimmy Carter had something to say. How old is Carter? Carter must be, what is he, 95, 96? He told a crowd today, he was at a panel discussion on human rights with his former vice president, Walter Mondale. They're both still alive. He was in Leesburg, Virginia, and the event at which he was speaking is hosted by Carter's organization, the Carter Center, which is not far from the Daniel Scapin studio here, from which we do our podcast. But he told a crowd Friday that a full investigation into Russian election interference in 2016 would show that Trump did not win that election, and that he ascended to the presidency only with the help of the Russians. And John Meacham, the historian that you've seen on MSNBC, was the moderator. He asked Jimmy Carter about Russian meddling in the election, which American intelligence agencies, all of them, have confirmed did occur. Carter said, quote, "The president himself," referring to this piece of human waste in the White House now, "the president himself should condemn it, admit that it happened. There's no doubt that the Russians did interfere in the election." I'm quoting Carter. "And I think the interference, although not yet quantified, if fully investigated, would show that Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered on his behalf." End quote. And then John Meacham asked if Carter thought Trump is therefore an illegitimate president. Carter said, "Based on what I just said, yes, which I can't retract." Drew a laugh from the crowd in Leesburg, Virginia. If you'll remember, and of course this will come out in the testimony scheduled. When's Mueller supposed to appear before Congress, Kathy? The 17th? This will probably come out. Mueller's investigation found Russia interfered in the election in order to help Trump win. Mueller's report revealed that members of Trump's campaign benefited from Russian government efforts, but the investigators working for Mueller did not find enough evidence that that conduct amounted to a crime. Now, Trump is in Japan. He is there for the G20 summit. I'm sure he doesn't have any fucking idea what that is, but it's another free trip for him, so he's there. He met with Vladimir Putin today, and he told Putin not to interfere again in a U.S. election, but he said it in a playful tone. According to the Washington Post, or USA Today, here's how they report it. Surrounded by cameras and reporters, Trump said in a joking manner, and he wagged his finger, "Now don't meddle in the election, President. Don't meddle in the election." And both he and Putin grinned at each other. Huh? Yeah, The Hill reports it this way. As journalists shouted questions asking if Trump would tell Russia not to meddle in U.S. elections, the president delivered a deadpan response. "Yes, of course I will. Don't meddle in the election, please. Don't meddle in the election," pointing to Putin and flashing a grin, and Putin chuckled in response. Aw, god damn. How about that, huh? Hey, don't meddle in our election. Oh, okay. Right. Woo! Trump told reporters that he and Putin would discuss trade, disarmament, and, quote, a lot of different things, too, end quote. Jesus Christ. A White House memo after the roughly 90-minute meeting between these two fascists made no mention of election interference. It said that the two leaders discussed improving U.S.-Russia relations, arms control, Venezuela, Ukraine, Iran, and Syria. Woohoo! Michael McFaul, I'm sure you've seen him on MSNBC too. He's a former U.S. ambassador to Russia. He bemoaned Trump's behavior in today's meeting. McFaul tweeted, quote, Trump laughed off election interference and doesn't bother to raise Putin's belligerent illegal behavior against Ukrainian sailors. Disappointing, but no longer shocking. Trump consistently appeases Putin at expense of U.S. national security interests. Why is Trump still president of the United States? There's only one reason. Only one. It has nothing to do with impeachment. The reason Trump is still president of the United States is because we, the American people, have yet to decide it's time for him to go. We are still willing to have Donald Trump as our president. And I can't understand why. It would be very easy to drive him from office. Very easy. And that would be for 8% of the population of the United States, which would be roughly 25 million of us, to pick a day, any day, as long as it's not a Sunday. Pick a day, any day, and 25 million people walk out of your home, go to the center of whatever city you live in, and sit down. Bring a chair with you. Sit down. Read a book. Listen to music. Chat with people. You don't have to carry signs or placards. You don't have to chant or beat drums. You don't have to have huge puppets or dummies showing Trump on a toilet. All you have to do is 25 million Americans take to the streets and bring this country to a halt. That would do it. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. You have your choice. You can listen to the ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.